Good afternoon, people, or morning, whatever. We are now balancing the carbs of an FZR. The principles are very simple. Basically, we want two cylinders to produce the same amount of power, hence being balanced. All right. So what we have to do is we have to measure the vacuum that is produced by each cylinder. As long as the vacuum is the same, they produce the same power. Therefore, it'll protect the crank. All right. Ideally,
and protecting the crank is important because we lost a crank once before.
Yeah, and it was expensive.
Oh my God, and labor intensive. You got to crack open the whole case. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, and the engine's pretty heavy, I must say.
Yes.
So it's no fun.
No.
No fun at all. All right, so this is a vacuum gauge, basically.
Hold on, let me zoom in on that sucker.
You can actually zoom in as you film. Wow, that's a good camera.
Yeah, I love this camera.
All right, so we're going to measure the vacuum produced by each cylinder.
Yes.
We'll do it one by one. So first of all, I have to close both valves.
Both valves closed.
All right, because basically the cylinder likes a very good vacuum.
Yes.
All right, so let's turn on the engine. Wait.
So for those who don't quite understand this.
All right, so basically, right cylinder vacuum produced right now is roughly 14.
Okay.
Oh, 14, yeah. Okay, the other cylinder is 16, so they're unbalanced. So right now we have to adjust and make sure that both cars produce the same amount of vacuum by turning a little screw here.
That would be the carburetor.
Yeah, that's the carburetor.
Actually,
right
both carburetors. You got dual carburetors. And at this point, it's nothing but turning screws on the carburetors. Now, for those who don't quite understand the principles of carburation, I will try my best in layman's terms to give you some idea. Essentially, as an engine, as the piston inside the engine goes up and down, what happens is it creates a vacuum because it's trying to suck something in through the valves on the head, and those valves are connected through the manifold, off the head, connected to the carburetor. The carburetor then sends certain amounts of gas into the engine depending on the extent of that vacuum. So basically, the vacuum itself coming out of the cylinder is going to pull the same off either cylinder. It's going to be the same amount of vacuum. The question is, how are the screws on the carburetor turned to have those jets on the carburetor adjusted correctly so that the amount of vacuum coming off each cylinder produces the same amount of pressure inside the carburetor and the same amount of pressure coming off of those jets so that the same amount of gas is delivered to each cylinder. Hopefully that made sense. And this is the bike most recently. Red disc, red caliper. Got new mirrors on this bad boy. They're nice, real slim mirrors on it. Real nicely adjustable. Everything else is pretty standard, really. Red in the rear. And at this point, all that's really left is the screw work to try and make each little guy do what it's supposed to do. So that finalizes it. Anybody who's in Taiwan right now will appreciate the on-screen advertisement for Tutor ABC. I might even tag them in this video. I might even see if I can pull some of their business towards this specific YouTube video. So thank you all very much for watching. I hope it's been an enjoyable experience. This is Sunday morning in Taichung.